So when I started my journey as a dad about 10 years ago, I started off very excited to be the best dad I possibly could be, to be the best husband I possibly could be. But it really only took about 2 to 3 years. It was shortly after our second born came into our life that I looked around and what I saw was a story I really didn't enjoy. I was struggling financially and in my career, and I'll never forget when my wife called me one day and told me, hey, there's a gas company employee here. They said that we haven't paid our bill. Can I pay him $38? And I was like, no, babe, you can't. We don't have that money right now. And what came out after that was just a lot of dishonesty in me where I was really struggling and surrounded by a life that at the time I would have said, I hate this. I want to share with you 3 key components that helped me move into a life that I really love and enjoy today. So we're going to cover my anti-vision, so getting clear on the life that I did not want, my vision and how I got clear on what I wanted and what exactly was included in that. And lastly, the good news for any dad out there who does want to change their story starting today. So let's start here with my anti-vision, the story that I didn't want. If I was to encapsulate it into a phrase and articulation, it was the story of the distracted dad. I was living it at the time, and it is a story that you see in culture quite often. I define the story of the distracted dad, number one, is just living on autopilot. Showing up and trying to smile and make people happy. It's doing work you don't really want to do for people you don't really like. It's, suffering for 50 weeks of the year so you get 2 weeks of vacation. Just this general sense of going with the motions and doing what you're told. So this life on autopilot component was just something that, again, like I can feel it in my chest here, of just like, ugh, that's not what I want. Something I could see in myself at times was almost treating my kids like employees or like pets to just, take care of and don't be upset. And once they're not, bothering me, then just let them be. Then when it came to marriage, what I saw as the common road, especially for the distracted dad, was this contractual marriage. So everyone starts off on the wedding day like really excited to, we're gonna go on a grand life adventure together and it's gonna be awesome and we're gonna do it together. More often than not, what I would see were these moms and dads with kids, their marriage turned into this weird sort of thing where the marriage and the relationship was more like negotiating a contract. Another thing I saw in a lot of marriages and was an element at mine at one point was this sense that I was, being coddled, that my wife saw me as fragile and that she had to talk in a certain way. And lastly, a marriage where the sex is just mechanical or obligatory. And I just, again, like I feel it in my chest where it's just like, ew, like I don't want that. I'm not wanting to settle for a contractual, obligatory relationship when it came to our love life. And then lastly, the story of the distracted dad is that he's focused on surviving life. Like that's the mindset when he wakes up every day. It's almost like if you've ever been to the beach, it's like, and there's, sets of waves coming in. It's just like every day, it just feels like new waves. And all I'm trying to do is get enough air to make it another day. I was numbing myself, with all sorts of distractions to avoid the pain that I was feeling. So that was my anti-vision, and overall developing and getting clear on this component was helpful for me because just as important as it is for you to know what you want, there's almost a healthy negative charge, almost like a magnet of like, hey, what are we pushing away from? Like, what are we moving away from? And so when I got clear and honest with myself about that anti-vision, it made it easier for me to start writing this next part, which is the story I did want. So as I began to get clear on the story that I did want, I've come to call this the story of the focused father. So this was the definition for me of what does a good story of my life look like? How am I relating and orienting around my life, around my marriage, around my kids? I've made progress towards this vision about living the life of the focused father, and at the same time, I'm still on the journey of achieving and moving towards these sorts of things. At a high level, I wanted to live with more clarity and purpose on a daily basis. Like, I wanted to wake up in the morning and know what it was that I was going after in life, an idea of how I was going to get there, and ultimately to enjoy the journey, like have a good time going after it. The second part of my vision of the story that I did want was I wanted to enjoy my kids. If you make it your goal to manage your kids, you are missing out on the 90% of the awesomeness that is having kids. Kids were not meant to be managed, they were meant to be enjoyed. Your kids can fill a certain part of your soul that at the end of a day that nothing else in the world can do, nothing on Netflix, nothing in career achievements. There's something to that human connection that happens when, yesterday I played doctor with my 4-year-old for, 15 minutes. But the engagement and the energy that put into me was really amazing. And when it came to relating to my kids as a dad, I wanted to be their safe place. I'm curious if that resonates for some of you. Like, I want my kids to feel like they can come to me with anything. And I know a lot of parents say that, but I think in reality it's much, much more rare than we think. And lastly, I didn't want the world to teach them. I wanted to teach them about the world. I didn't want to outsource that to the schools. I didn't want to outsource that to employers or jobs to teach them a work ethic. I just knew that's part of the journey, is imparting the lessons you and I have learned as men throughout our lives and passing that on to the next generation. When it came to my marriage, I finally realized I wanted a team-based marriage. I wanted a marriage where instead of facing each other and almost pulling on a tug of rope between, what do I want, what do you want, and what do you need, and what do I need, it being this shoulder-to-shoulder thing, looking out ahead of us and having a shared goal that we both were marching and working towards. I knew I wanted to be trusted. So in that opposition of being coddled, a lot of women, I think, coddle their husbands because, quite frankly, they don't trust them. They don't trust them to receive honest feedback or the truth and not blow up, get angry, shut down. And so I got clear on hey, I want to be trusted and I want to be able to be told the truth. And through practicing that in my relationship, it has birthed all sorts of good things, both in our relationship and in the rest of my life. And I knew that I didn't want that, obligatory sex life. And so what I really got clear on was I want this to be an adventurous and reciprocal experience. And that I know for a lot of people feels, high and lofty or dramatic or impossible. But I'm here to say it's not. I've seen it in the lives of others. And I've definitely seen incredible progress and a big difference in my own life. And then lastly, it's just that orientation towards life. So the focused father, he's focused on adventuring through life. So instead of surviving life, if we go back to that wave analogy, it's instead of standing out in the ocean and there being waves coming in and you just keep ducking your head under and coming up off over the next one, just praying that you don't have to face another one. It's much more like seeing those waves and deciding hey, the waves are going to be coming. The challenges of life, the pain of life is going to be coming. How about I get a surfboard and I start to learn how to ride these things and enjoy the process of these waves being a part of life and see challenges as lessons, as opportunities to gain strength and to transform through those experiences. So that brings us to the final piece, which is the good news for dads who want to change their story. If you are a dad who wants to move from the story of the distracted dad and move closer to the story of the focused father, if this anti-vision and this vision resonate with you, one, I think it's really cool that you're here. That's why I'm running this YouTube channel. I am looking for other men who are saying, hey, this vision, these goals, I want to move towards them too. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but they're not as common as you might hope them to be. So if that's something that you want to do, you're not alone in that. You at least have me. That's what I'm going after. And I would love to share the journey with you as you go after it too. Number two, the good news for you is that you have choice. So God did not put you on this earth as a robot. And as much as it can feel like you might be stuck or that you don't have options right now, God actually put a pen in your hand, and he's invited you to start writing a story. He doesn't want to control every aspect of your story. Rather, he put desires, interests, curiosities into you, and the invitation, and what he might be doing is standing back a little bit and saying, hey, what do you want to do? What story do you want to write? And that's why each and every day we wake up with choice. You wake up with an opportunity to choose what your actions are going to be. So don't become overwhelmed by what choices you're going to make in the next year, what choices you're going to make in the next month, or what choices you're going to make in the next week. Just like today, like if you're watching this at 8 p.m., what choice are you making between 8 p.m. and the time you go to bed tonight? If it's the morning, what choices are you making today? So that's at least where I began, of this realization that I had choice, that I could make different choices moving forward, that the story was not predetermined. That was the initial mindset shift that then started to put multiple dominoes in a row and causing them to topple over. If you can leave a comment below, I'd love to know, like, what is in your anti-vision, or what's in your vision? What are you going after? My name is Hunter Davis, and if you are a dad watching this right now, just know that if you can get clear on your anti-vision, the life that you do not want, and you get clear on your vision, the life that you do want, and you embrace the truth that you have choice and that you have some control in writing the story that you want, then you are going to be well ahead of many other dads who are still stuck in the distracted dad dynamic and storyline. I'm excited to see what you do with it.